One at a time.
All right, let's see. Phone line is open, 813-618-7099. Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast.
And tonight we've been playing a little Cartographers. Well, I said we've been playing. Actually, we haven't been playing yet. We just set up Cartographers. As usual, we did get our pre-game in before we started tonight. We've been, last 4 weeks, I think, we have played Betrayal Legacy. We've been getting one game of that in each night before we got on. And tonight we actually finished early. The last few weeks we've been scrambling, finishing that up about 5 or 10 minutes to go on air. We've been throwing together the setup here. But this week we finished actually about 30 minutes early. So we got good and set up. And then we laid out Cartographers. Will's never played.
Nope.
So Carlos just recently acquired. I don't want to steal any thunder later on the acquisitions.
The podcast. We're going to talk about that in the podcast.
Awesome. Okay.
So for y'all want to know more about what we've been collecting, acquiring in our collections, make sure tune in Sundays.
Yeah.
We drop the podcast.
All right. And so Carlos has picked up Cartographers. Will's never played. I just learned Cartographers, about a week ago, a little over a week ago. So we're going to throw together a quick game. So we'll put that on pause. And then probably as soon as we're done here, we'll get a quick 20-minute game of Cartographers in. And then we'll be recording, as Carlos said, our podcast for that'll go live on probably on everything, right? You post it on YouTube, you post it on all the podcast channels on Sundays. Okay.
Sundays I drop the podcast for y'all to hear more about what we've been up to. Cool. Whereas I know that the call-in show is all about y'all. Right. All of y'all at home. We focus on you. The podcast is where we get to talk about what we've been up to game-wise.
A little more in-depth discussion. We usually spend about an hour plus, just talking about different things we played, games that we've acquired, board gaming news, board gaming adjacent topics. Same kind of main things we talk about on this show, but get a little more in-depth on them. So
we got GW Rules popping in to say hi as work started at 9 p.m. Keep up the great work. Thank you for the comment.
Yep. As always, if you can't join us for some reason on the call-in, we would prefer to talk to you.
Oh, we already missed a call from Mitchell.
How did we do that? Let me see if I can figure out. Did I turn the phone on?
He's gonna double check that. But again, I was just gonna say that if you for some reason can't get through on the call,
sausage fingers,
can't call in, make sure you
try it again, Mitchell.
Get on the text board in the chat, and we'll talk about your chats on the chat board. So
I'll do that.
Yeah. Will's gonna monitor that for us. Okay.
Maybe this time I'll get it right, Mitchell. When you give us a call, 813-618-7099. Let's talk a little bit of Cartographers while we wait for the phone call to come in.
Yeah, well, tell me. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the podcast last week because I had my first experience with it, but you've played it a couple times just solo now so far. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What's your opinion? I haven't played solo.
The solo system is nice and easy. Oh, here we go.
Got a caller.
Yes, it is.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
I don't need to say my name. You ignored me on purpose.
Say my name.
It was me calling.
Say my name.
I got you, Mitchell. I knew. I saw it. I saw your chat.
And in our regular segment, games from New Iberia.
Hey, I feel like that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I can stop calling if you want me to stop calling.
No, negative Ghost Rider.
No
negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is not full.
I didn't officially say my name, Mitchell, from Louisiana. I'm calling in. So as you guys know, I'm back to school. It's been a little busy. Games have been a little bit fewer and more far between, but I have played a couple of games this week.
Sweet.
The first one, I believe we've talked about, Rising Sun. Have you guys played it? That's like the sequel to Blood Rage, the Japanese one.
We have. I played it a couple times. I think Carlos has played it once or twice. Yeah.
And that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. I was a little intimidated by it at first just because it seems like a lot. At its heart, I don't think it's nearly as heavy as it's billed as. But first of all, those minis are amazing. They're huge and detailed. I mean, CMON, that's kind of what they're known for.
Right.
But so we had a game of 6 players. I think you have to have an expansion to play with 6 players. My buddy has all the expansions, and he was the only one who had played it. He hadn't played it for like a year. So we got a couple of rules mixed up, and then he was teaching 5 newbies. I think it lasted about 5 hours. It was insane.
Oh, wow. That is.
So for me, it overstayed its welcome a little bit, but given the circumstances, I think I have to give it a pass.
I'd rather play
everybody, including myself, really – well, I agree. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think future games would take that long just because there were so many new people, and it was just –
That's really long.
A crazy night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to play it again with fewer players and also now that I'm experienced with it, but – I really like the way that the action selection works, that you're drawing those tiles, You have to pick one of them. And then the two that you discard, the next person can potentially pick those. So there's a little bit of counter picking involved, right? And I also like the ally thing. So like whenever you play that, most of those tiles of those 5 actions, everybody gets to do it. But then if you have an alliance with somebody, you get to do it like an extra time, or get it in a special way. So that's kind of cool. Yep. It kind of drives your alliances. For me, what I tried to do was either get an ally that was right next to me so that I could have 2 really powerful actions back to back, or get someone who was like across the table from me. So, every couple turns I'd be getting to do something kind of cool. So I like that. The combat for me, I mean, there wasn't anything special about it, especially as kind of a Blood Rage player already. Same kind of idea, comparing power, comparing cards, but just the cool thing are those minis. Again, that's just kind of a CMON thing.
Was this the upgraded like Kickstarter version with the buildings that were all minis?
Yes. So he had everything.
Wow.
He had the extra minis. He had the neoprene mat, which is bigger.
Yeah,
he had like the yin and yang things that were made out of like, I don't know,
resin,
acrylic or something. Usually everything's like
they're like Bakelite, like dominoes.
Yeah.
The tiles are, but the yin and yang are actually kind of a rubbery.
Oh yeah, right. That was like a plasticky.
Yeah, it's like a plastic
like a resin.
rubber kind of thing.
It's like resin.
Mm-hmm. So the tiles were made out of like the Bakelite, like the dominoes.
Right.
Yeah, those were like dominoes. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, let me stop you.
I've been looking at it for a long time. I was glad I played it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned that the combat wasn't anything special, and it's been a little while since I played, but I seem to remember the combat was you're behind those screens, and you're bidding your coins on the different actions. And actually, I found that to be quite unique.
I did forget about that. I did enjoy that, but I don't know. It just... The combat itself, where it's like for each of these units, they're 1 power. For each of these units, they're 2 powers. Then you have monsters. It just reminded me a lot of Blood Rage.
Sure.
And that part of the actual resolution of combat. But yeah, no, I do agree. That's kind of more I guess I was thinking of that more as preparation for combat.
Okay.
Where you can seppuku yourself if you think you're going to lose.
Right.
And or you can add your Ronin, your little military like hexes. And then I think there's one. I don't remember what the third one is. And the last one, it's like you get points for everybody that gets killed.
You can take prisoners. I don't know if you remember.
Prisoners. That's the fourth one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And you capture.
It got a little bit hard to kind of manage mentally because I know with less players, he says there's not necessarily a battle in every province, my friend said. But with 6, there's definitely a battle everywhere. So if you're spread around the board and you have a finite amount of money that you got to use by the end of this season, and it's like, where do I divide this money? So that's good. It's stinky, but that part, I understood the rules of it. And so mechanic-wise, it wasn't super heavy for me, that part. But just deciding where to commit those was, you could almost get into some analysis paralysis very easily there.
Yeah.
So I did like that part, but overall the combat for me just, I guess that part was unique. It just didn't super stand out. I prefer the action selection. That's where I felt as though it shined, that and the components themselves.
Let me ask what you think about the T ceremony. I've never played with 6. I've played with 5, and I've played with 4, and I think I've played with 3. Did you find that with 6 that everybody was pairing up every round, or did you have people go solo some of the rounds?
Everybody paired up every time.
Okay.
I think we kind of all saw the benefit in the extra action. But I could see how it could add something to the game if you have an odd number and you have to leave someone out.
That's when I played. When I played it, it was an odd number of players, and it didn't hit off.
Well, there's a lot of negotiation when you have odd because, like you say, number one, you're going to have somebody who's left out, and so there's more negotiating. People saying, "Ooh, I'll give you 2 coins if you don't make me the one out," and so there was a lot of that stuff where I'll do. You can trade anything in the game, so the people were trading all kinds of stuff, or offering all kinds of things. And again, it's been a while since I played. I don't remember. There is actually a benefit for being solo, though. Do you remember what that was?
Sounds like they never used it.
I don't remember ever being told that there was a benefit to being solo. Again, my friend hadn't played in a while, and he was teaching 5 people, so he might have forgotten to mention that.
There's something you get for being solo. I forget what it is, but
all of us, every time, I mean, we didn't even have to convince each other. It's just like, hey, you want to be an alliance this time? Sure. Yeah. And maybe that's because, most of us were still learning the game, that we didn't, get all the nuances of it. But there definitely seems to be more benefits to being an alliance than not.
Okay.
with those bonus actions. So I'm really looking forward. I did not back Ankh. I'm kind of really regretting it now. I'm looking to see what kind of the next step is in this series by Eric Lang.
Sure.
Do you guys know anybody that got it?
We do. Several people from our group got
it. The pictures were coming through all the messenger boards.
They went all out.
Yeah. We had one guy who's already played it 3 or 4 times, I think.
Nick, Muhammad.
Yeah, Muhammad bought it.
Other Nick. I think both
of the Nicks got it. Yeah, Nicholas and Nick.
He wants to sell it. No,
they haven't really got it to the table yet.
Yeah, I think
Nick Terry did get.
Nick Terry's played it 3 or 4 times now. Yeah. So he says he's liking it. I guess the big thing that's coming out about Ankh is Eric Lang really went with something different, and this is pretty much out there for people who know the game. And there is the mechanic where you're each playing a god during the game, and there's a point that there's different scenarios you can play. So from what I understand, it doesn't happen necessarily in every scenario that you play, but in most of the scenarios, if you're playing with at least 3 people, there is a point in the game where you trigger a combined action.
Urge to merge.
The merge, yeah. And
I remember you guys talked about that last week. It's like the first and the last player, right?
It's actually the last 2. Yeah, I think I might have misspoke on that before, but it's the last 2. The last 2 places come together. The person who's in, let's say it's a 4-player game, the 4th place player gets rid of all of their stuff, basically, except for they keep their god power, and then the third place player keeps all their stuff, but they're basically combining, and they play with the third player's stuff that's on the board, but they get the benefit of both of the god powers. The downside is, other than having to join up and play with somebody else and potentially get a combined win or a combined loss, is that normally you get 2 actions in the game every time it's your turn. Once you combine, the 3rd and the 4th place player in this example each only get 1 action. So they're each using the same units. And from a lot of people have said that other than just the whole idea of combining 3rd and 4th being a weird thing, the other thing a lot of people aren't liking is that now especially like if you're sitting across the table from somebody, there's a whole lot of, all right, if the 4th place player, you keep your turn order. If the 4th place player goes first, well, now I feel like I have built this army, I had spread them out, but I have really no say in hopefully, ideally, you're working together.
There's a remedy for that, Robert.
Yeah? Work together? Or?
Don't be in 3rd.
Don't be in 3rd or 4th. Yeah, just don't do it.
For me, from what I sound like it's forcing you to play well. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, well,
sounds like don't be stupid.
It's a toll gate. Like it's a toll gate you reach in the game.
It's like,
and if you're in the bottom, maybe you don't want to team up with someone. Well, next time play better.
Yeah.
Don't take,
I like
be
it.
ruthless.
It reminds me
be ruthless.
of Oath with the citizens and the chancellor, which I'm going to update. Doug's been out of town the last 2 weeks. But yeah, it definitely makes me feel like that, because that's very similar to how the Oath mechanics work, that if you become a citizen, you lose all your troops, and now all the troops that you use are the same as the chancellors.
Yeah.
And so it definitely seems like there's some similarities.
That sounds like it. Yeah, it definitely reminded me of that when I started hearing about it. Yeah.
Let me get quick back to Rising Sun. Have you played any other blind bidding games?
Rising Sun, you mean?
I have. I'm trying to think of an example offhand, but yes.
So like Revolution is a blind bidding. Okay, I'm not a fan of them. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. What about Cry Havoc? You ever played Cry Havoc? It's got that combat system similar to Rising Sun. Have you tried that one before?
No, I've not played that either.
Okay, so those are 2 mechanisms that I didn't like in other games.
Yeah.
And then put them together in Rising Sun. That may be part of why I didn't find the experience something I wanted to recreate or do again.
Yeah.
How long were you guys' plays at the game?
Mine at 5 players, I would say did not go over 3 hours.
No, it didn't go over 3 hours. Yeah. I don't remember extending it stay too long.
Yeah, and that was a learning game as well. I think in that game it was at least 3 of us, maybe 4 of us that were learning the game, and we played with our AP player. Actually, that time I remember Nick Oben played that one, and I think we were still around 3 hours maybe.
Yeah, it was in line with Blood Rage.
Yeah. I definitely felt like, wait, your games of Blood Rage take 3 hours?
Oh, no, I was going to say, not Blood Rage. Blood Rage, I don't know if I've ever played a Blood Rage game. It's been more than an hour and a half.
I'm sorry, Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars, maybe, more like
because I measure games based on Terraforming Mars. Is this game
worth?
Once we get to the 3 hour mark, would I rather play Terraforming Mars?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Gotcha.
I can't do that, no.
So, we're on the topic of Terraforming Mars, and you guys have said this a lot, and I've always tried to get in a word about it, but the topic always moves on. So I have a second.
Okay.
You guys play Terraforming Mars with drafting.
Right.
And I've heard Rob say a lot of times he doesn't like that Ares Expedition took that out.
Right.
But that's just a variant. That's not base rules. we don't play with drafting, and you guys probably think we're blasphemous for that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It makes it last way too long.
I think inside there it says if you want to play a more advanced game, you play drafting.
Or with Terraforming Mars.
Well, yeah, that's a very
heretic identified.
So you're basically playing the easy version.
Yeah, I think that.
No. I still play with all of the expansions.
That's still the easy version.
I don't know. I just don't like the fact that it takes it takes a big element out of the game that you just get randomly what you get, and you can't do as much strategizing when you have the draft. Number one, keeping the person to your left or your right, depending on which round it is, from getting cards that they may want, and then being able to keep cards that you want to help build on your strategy that you've been building throughout the game. Yeah, I can't imagine ever going back and playing without the draft. That's half the game for me.
It's literally, I think that's literally a third, if not half of the game. Half the game strategy is the drafting. Is the draft. Do I keep these cards away from Rob or Carlos? If Rob's playing the planting trees, I'm going to keep his green card. If Carlos is playing all the space stuff, I'm going to keep this one. It's just you got to do that.
Yeah, like you said though, Mitchell. There's no doubt it adds to the game. Or to the length of the game.
What's your game time, Mitchell, without drafting?
On Terraforming Mars, we could probably bang it out an hour. We could do 3 games, and sometimes we do. We do 2 or 3 games back to back.
Wow. Yeah.
You're missing out a lot then.
Yeah.
You really are.
Well,
I've played it, I think, twice with drafting, and both times almost everybody at the table was miserable just because
really?
I guess, we started off playing without that addition to it. We got used to it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, but maybe.
That will definitely make the game more tactical, more in line with Ares Expedition. Do what you can with what's in your hand.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all you got.
Yeah, I won't knock it. Yeah, I don't enjoy playing that one, and I had said that several times just to friends and stuff that I wouldn't do that, and then I got into a game where we were teaching 2 new people, and the guy that was teaching it said, "Hey, let's just do it without the drafting," and reluctantly I went along with it, but I would say that was tough for me. That game was not nearly as fun, and I kind of just toughed it out just to teach the 2 new people, but
I think it's because of the lack of control.
Probably, yeah.
That's a good topic, man. To draft or not to draft?
Oh, no, draft all the way.
Yeah, it's for me. But I'm not going to knock it. Like you say, if you can play it in an hour, we don't ever play. With 3 or 4 people, we don't ever play in less than 3 hours, probably.
No.
So it's.
But it's more interaction when you draft. There's way more interaction when you're drafting. Yeah. Way more.
And your engines are more efficient.
Right.
Like you built.
It's way efficient, especially like if you play with the Prelude, which you have to now, and then you look at that. It's literally okay. I'm not going to give this to him because he can do this and this. No, there's no way. And then you literally are looking at other players' board. If you don't do the drafting mechanic, you just focus on this.
I do like the idea of getting in the game in an hour, though.
That's what I say. I'm not going to completely knock it. It's got its place, although
it's pros and its cons.
With Ares Expedition out now,
have you done that one yet, Mitchell?
I've not
okay.
Because I guess I didn't see the allure, but maybe it's because I'm already playing a little bit of a stripped down compared to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, the Ares Expedition is cut way back. You're taking the board away. The whole thing about there's a when you're flipping,
area control is gone.
Yeah,
drafting's gone.
You're just flipping ocean tiles. There's just 8 of them or 9 of them or whatever it is laying out there, and you just randomly flip one over, and it's got some kind of bonus on it, and you just get whatever bonus that is. Obviously, with the board, you're strategically trying to place things. So you're trying to place oceans in spots that are going to give you whatever bonus you're looking for, and then when you're building around oceans, you're trying to get that $2 for every 2 mega credits for every one you build around. So then that's another whole element of it. But yeah, Ares Expedition, I would say if you are playing regular Terraforming Mars without the drafting in an hour, you'd probably play Ares Expedition in 30 to 45 minutes.
But yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, if you come here, we're playing drafting. If you come in this house, we're playing drafting.
Yeah, of course. It's
can't get away with that.
House rules wherever we are.
Sure,
definitely.
Yeah. But what else have you been up to? Got any other games in recently, or?
So I played a game of Red Rising. I know we've talked about that Into the Ground.
Sure.
Island of El Dorado, which we've talked about before. QE. Have we talked about QE before?
I don't know that we have. I think it came up very briefly on one of the shows, but we never got in any discussion about it.
So do you guys know the concept of it?
I do, but go ahead and tell the fans about it. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this.
It's really cool. So QE, it's an economic term called quantitative easing. The basic concept is that each player is a country, and we're bailing out companies. And it's a bidding game, and there's no limit on how much you can bid, which seems like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Just make up numbers.
But, exactly. Like, literally, you could bid $1 or you can bid $1 billion. And very quickly, inflation starts occurring. It's kind of funny to see. But there's a caveat to that, obviously, because if it's infinite, then you'd all just bid infinity, right?
Right.
The person who spends the most money automatically loses.
At the end of the game.
Up at the end of the game,
Yep.
automatically loses. They're out. The person who spends the least amount of money gets extra points. So there's not only are you wanting to spend money to get points, but you actually, if you spend too much money, you're down to 0. And if you spend the least amount of money, you get extra points. So that's what's kind of limiting you a little bit. And so your goal whenever you're bidding on these different companies is the companies have a base victory point value, anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 points. They have a country, and if they match up with your country, which they all have the same amount, it's asymmetric, then you get extra points. And then there are different industries. So you want to get sets of different types of industries, and you also want to monopolize, get multiples of the same kind of an industry. And so it's all secret. There's a bid master each round that you write down how much you want to pay, and you give it to him, and he or she declares who the winner is, and they write how much you bid on the back of the company and flip it face down. So they know, and you know, and nobody else knows. So you don't have perfect knowledge to know how much you're spending compared to other people. Ooh. It's a quick, light filler game, and I don't know. I really enjoy it.
You said quick, light filler. It sounds like there's a lot of deep strategy in here, though. Does it really end up being
definitely
quick and light?
I mean, it's only, I think, 5 rounds. Usually we play with 3 or 4 people. I think it must be 4 rounds. There's 16 tiles, I think. Let's see. BGG says it's 45 minutes. Weight 1.74. The mechanics are very simple.
Yeah.
But yes, there's definitely a lot of strategy to it. For me, I see more value in getting more companies as opposed to spending the least amount of money. So I try to check and keep a running estimate of how much I think each person is spending, because the bid master every round sets a starting bid. So I know if somebody wins over his amount, then they spent at least how much he bid. And so what I do whenever I'm the bid master is I always put $1. I never try to win whenever I'm the bid master, because now nobody else has any idea how much they're actually bidding. That's kind of my little strategy to it. And
your Jedi mind tricks all over again.
Yeah.
It's a strategy.
Well, I know Tom Vassell talks about this a lot on the Dice Tower, and he says he just likes making up numbers like 1 quadrillion, and he just makes these ridiculous bids just to see people try to make up numbers that go above that, just to see where they can get to. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I haven't played it yet.
I like the idea of it being light and fast. That makes a difference. Because I'm not a fan of bidding games. It sounds like you are, but I feel like bidding games, I don't know how to value things. So Mad King Ludwig, Robert,
Castle's Mad
right?
King.
I struggled with that.
Yeah,
the bidding thing, I just don't know how to value stuff,
yeah.
and then I feel like I put myself in a hole early in the game, financially, economically, and then the rest of the game is just shot, and I got to sit there for an hour and a half. But if it's a quick filler game, 30, 45 minutes, that I can do. Like Wits and Wagers, right? That's a betting game.
Yeah,
but fast.
Yeah, so the thing is, you're saying you're worrying about valuing things. It literally doesn't matter as long as you're relative to the other players. Like the first round, it's always like 10 or 100, and by the last round, it's like 25 billion. So like as soon as you see someone bidding $1 million and winning, you have a little bit of wiggle room. The game is never over because it's like they can't resist the urge to just put a big number down, for the shock value.
Yeah.
The first time people play, they're always like, I don't know how much to put. And I said, just put down a number. You'll see very quickly how this is going to turn out. It literally
escalates.
Yeah. So it's just like real life inflation. What is that? Whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up. The points don't matter.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool game.
So yeah, that's it for me for the week. It was a dry week a little bit with me going back to work, but hopefully we'll play some more this weekend.
Well, you still got in more in a week than probably a lot of our listeners get in a month, so that's still not bad. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, still lucky. Well, you guys have a good show. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling,
bye-bye.
as always.
Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
All right, that was Mitchell from New Iberia, Louisiana. Thanks, Mitchell, for the call. He calls in every week to provide awesome content.
Yeah, we give him a hard time, but we don't want him to think that we're
and he didn't know.
He's become a friend now, so
this is how we treat friends.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it sounds like every game is a light filler game with no drafting.
Yeah. Will's a little raw about the no drafting thing. But
I mean, even the chat says they agree. It's like Terraform Mars Auto Drafting is not Terraform Mars. It's just, it's just a game about Mars.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. But yeah, I've seen over and over people say that without the drafting,
that's like taking the political game out of TI4.
Yeah. And I've seen people play TI4 without the political.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, some people play without the politicals.
But that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of that
Well, it
game.
depends on the group, too. So, sometimes,
in our group, it really is a big part.
Yeah. Twilight Imperium, the big...
Especially when you got a dictator on the board that says, I don't care.
Marathon game. Yeah.
I've lost games because of the political phase.
Right. It's a big part
I've lost games because of that.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
Phone lines open, 813-618-7099. You know, blind bidding is just not my thing. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I think I introduced you to Revolution years ago.
You did. Yeah. We played it a long time ago.
It's a blind bidding game, and there's just so much to lose, right? Because if you play it by the base rules, whatever you bid, you lose whether or not you win it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hole that you dig yourself in. Only one person can win it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't want to overbid. Yeah.
What if it's blind bidding is a mechanic as opposed to the core thing of the game? I.e., like you got Scoville. Scoville's a blind bidding on turn order.
Yeah, that's different, I think. Yeah, I mean, what's the
Shogun?
The game, with the gods, and it's the old, everybody likes, there's just two games that are interchangeable. Dice Towers talks about them all the time. Cyclades and Kemet Cyclades. Which one is it that has the bidding for the turn?
I think it's Kemet.
Is it Kemet? Okay, yeah. That's the one. So I played both of them several times. But yeah, this reminds me of that a little bit because you got the blind bidding in that. But that one you're doing again for turn order so that you can choose which of those.
Which is an important thing.
Yeah.
But you're still getting something. You may not be getting up in the turn order. You still get to take a turn.
Right.
I'm talking about like when you bid resources to do something and then you lose it. I guess in quantitative easing, you're really not losing anything. Right? There's no limit to the resources you have. You're printing money effectively.
Right, exactly. It's kind of what the box is showing.
Folks.
Yeah, print money to bid whatever you want. You just make the number up.
Right, but with most blind bidding games, you have limited resources, and if you bid wrong, you're out of money.
Can penalize you.
Which is why it hurts.
In some of those games, if you lose, or when you lose, then you get it back in a lot of those games. But I guess you're saying if you bid and you win and you overbid, then you've paid more, lost more than you.
I think that most games now, when you do that, they just say, you know what, you still got to pay it. Even if you lose.
Right. Yeah, depends on the game.
It used to be a point where if you bid and didn't lost, you get to keep it, but not anymore. I think they kind of like took that crutch away from gamers.
Yeah. Some games.
Kind of like, I know Zeno's in the chat. He might speak to this one. Star Realms, was it? No. The
Warhammer one?
Forbidden Stars.
Forbidden Stars, yeah.
You're bidding actions, right? Like you're placing action tokens in a certain order, right? And if you get that wrong, you may not be able to do anything you want to do.
Yeah,
it can ruin your whole turn.
It's penalizing. Yeah.
I'm not good at it. I'm just not good at it.
That's your thing, huh? No. Yeah. You got to be pretty efficient with it to make it work for you.
The phone line's still open.
Yeah, phone line's open. 813-618-7099. And then there's the piece of Red Rising, which is what Mitchell called about.
Yeah.
With the combat system, right? I thought I was gonna love Cry Havoc because Cry Havoc is a dudes on a map game. When it came out, it was innovative because it had the similar mechanism for combat, which is a bidding where you bid on what you want to do, right? And then it's an order of operation.
That's the important thing.
Take prisoners, capture, kill, retreat, that kind of stuff is in order.
Yep.
I couldn't grok it. I can't grok or understand.
Wow.
Yeah, I know we had a hard time with that when that one came out and was real popular. You had picked up a copy of that pretty early on, and then we played it, and we were like, "Ooh, what are we missing here?" It was another one of those games where we just couldn't quite figure out. That one and Great Western Trail, the two that I remember that everybody seemed to like, but we couldn't quite find out. We felt like we were missing something when we played it. But yeah, I remember that.
I missed out on that one.
It's a while ago. I want to give it another try.
Yeah, it was a while back.
I've been hearing things like, it's like,
Yeah. It hasn't rocketed up the charts. So
Board Game Gumbo is in the chat saying hello. Zeno's in there saying no way to. I'm hoping he's talking about Terraforming Mars without drafting.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey Zeno, what's going on?
Oh, there he is.
Hey, there's my man.
How you doing?
What's the no way for?
What's going on? Huh?
What was the no way comment for?
Oh, you guys talking about the bidding with TI? Someone was saying that
Playing without politics.
Dictator. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yeah, I've heard a few people have done that, but yeah, that's definitely it. Kind of breaks the game. I mean, the game is designed around that, so you got to play the game.
But
right?
it's also a house rule. You can.
Yeah.
Some people taking it out completely.
Yeah, you can do what you want. Yeah.
Zeno, you've been playing a lot lately.
Yeah, right? We've played a couple of the games. Once in a while, we'll run around where there's barely any politics.
Yeah.
And then it just turns into a tactical game. But and then sometimes lately when we're playing a couple politics, like that one card that lets you choose everybody else's strategy card, that's how I just completely changed it and killed it.
Oh, yeah.
I would save that one for the right moment.
Right. Ugh.
Yeah, we had that last time, and it just, yeah.
How many games of TI4 with the Prophecy of Kings expansions have y'all gotten to the table?
As soon as it came out, probably 6 or 7.
Right.
Okay.
Think about that. 15 hours is what it took when I went to Zeno's place.
Yeah, but you played.
I went to Zeno's place and played.
You played a full
15
stack.
hours. You watched that online, William.
I watched.
We streamed that one.
I had it on my phone while I was on my computer playing Total War. Actually,
Yeah.
because I was like, you know what? What's a long game that's gonna go with that? Total War.
So Zeno, have you thought about taking? Because I listened to the a review by Shut Up and Sit Down.
Yep.
Would you pull that expansion out of your game? Have you thought about that going back to the base set?
There's no way. There's no way. Actually, I saw the designer of the game talk about that too. No, there's no way. It's too integrated. I'll feel like if we play it without the expansion, that we'll be missing something. There's just no way.
Okay. See, Shut Up and Sit Down was wrong.
Yeah. In Zeno's eyes, at least. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
All right, Zeno, you're going to be hosting games this weekend on our game day. We got our second Saturday game day.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I know you've been posting up a bunch of plays of that lately.
He's gonna kick our butts.
Okay. Well,
Or him and Kai.
actually, we played last night. We did pretty good. No, Ed's formidable too. I mean, he's really good at the rules too. So watch out for him. It took us about 3 games to get all the rules right, and I bought. Actually, I bought all the expansions.
Of course you did.
Last. You know me. Once I get started, I can go. But anyway,
When you get a piece of that, you just buy everything.
yeah, I know because I always feel like I'm missing out on something. I'm like, oh wait a minute, look at that. So and you know how I am about games that are diverse and replayable, and they're never the same games. So the way I see it, the more factions you have, the different game you have every game.
Sure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it if you can do it. That's a good thing.
Well, the last piece I'm waiting for, I'm trying to remember what they're called. They're the $20 expansion, and what they do is they suck up resources. You can either use them mercenaries. I think they're called the druids.
Okay.
They're just all they are is a bunch of little pieces, and I guess whenever you explore, they pop up, and then they start sucking resources out and make things hard on people. I'm supposed to get that in the next couple of days, so we'll see. But
Cool.
as far as everything else goes, yeah, we really like the game.
Yeah, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
Oh,
It's a game by Gameling Games. It's a 4X game, and what that means is you expand, you explore, you exploit, and you exterminate to win in a map style game. In this game, everybody has their own island that they start on, but all the islands are connected by ferry routes, so nobody is too far away from each other, kind of like Kemet. So there's always easy access to go beat somebody up. But you're building buildings in your castle, which give you resources that you need to build better building and weapons and hire better troops. Then you take those troops to go explore, exploit, and exterminate. I love it.
yeah, well, what's neat about it is the way the end game triggers. There's like 4 different ways to do it. So you really have to watch them. Like if someone runs out of all their pieces, all of a sudden the end game trigger. If someone builds all their towers,
Right.
the end game triggers. If everybody explores all their tokens, the end game trigger, or if someone's capital gets decimated, the end game triggers. So there are 4 different ways, and so you got to start watching the people around you.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's only got 2 pieces left. We have to go attack him just to knock out his pieces. Oh no, he's got 2 towers. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're learning. That's the balance of the game. It actually makes you fight each other. I mean, if you try to sit there and be passive, you'll lose just by building all your units. You know.
Right, you got to make sure you're the one that's in the right position when you trigger that end game. So I remember that being a big part of it. That if you feel like you're behind, you don't want to trigger that. So you're trying to do everything you can to hold off on taking out the last player or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely a big part of the game.
Zeno, I want to know your thoughts on the combat system, because this is a very different combat system. It's not like Rising Sun. It's not dice combat. It's card combat in kind of like an expanded rock paper scissors style. What do you think of the combat system?
I like it. It makes you think. One, you got to look and make sure you have the resources to be able to pay for your combat, so that makes you options there. Two, we've kind of played it a few times to the point where you can almost predict what someone's going to do, but then you start thinking, well, he knows that I know that he knows. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you got to change your tactic. Yeah, because we all have the same combat cards.
Yeah, that Princess Bride thing going on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. We don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, we got so bad last night when we played. We actually had, Ed was attacking my one city. I had 36 on the board for combat, which is really, really up there.
Yeah.
And he brought like 32, 34.
Wow.
That's a big fight.
So, yeah, it was a huge fight, right. I mean, and what we learned also in the game is you got to use spells a lot to get points.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that you have to have mana for combat a lot.
Yep.
The two are the tug and push, tug and pull of where you spend your mana.
Push and pull.
Yeah, because a lot of times in games like that, you think, okay, well, I'm just going to build my buildings, or I'm going to build a lot of units. But if you don't have the mana to back up your attacking forces,
or the build action,
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
And sometimes those cards are powerful. They can somebody has the right card at the right time. They can really swing a combat one way or the other.
Right. Now, what you guys have probably not seen, because I think Carlos only has like one expansion.
Yeah.
Since I bought the other large expansion, and then I've also bought the mercenary ship expansion.
I have two.
You have two? Okay.
Yeah.
Just two boxes up
Okay,
there.
no,
They're
but what
inside
I'm
the
saying
boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, Zeno has got everything. He's got everything.
But what I'm saying is, just like the ship one, it adds 14 more spell cards. And then the other box adds more spell cards. So that spell deck I have.
So it's not just miniatures. It really adds to the game.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what I thought was kind of neat was they sell their own
sleeves
for the game.
Yeah.
Right. Now I found this neat was, okay, so I bought the first two boxes, I had the sleeves, and then the third box, I'm like, man, I don't have enough sleeves, so I've got to buy another pack of their sleeves, their special ones for the spells and their tactics and all that other stuff. What I found out was if you buy the mercenary ship pack, it comes with just enough sleeves to cover the entire game. Like it adds on to the original sleeve pack you buy. I thought that was pretty neat. So
that's
now
cool.
all my
that's
stuff,
nice.
yeah, so all my stuff has the special sleeves and everything, but it was just enough right down to the very last one. I was like, okay, so they designed it to do it like that.
That's beautiful. That's nice of the company to do that. That's a tip for y'all at home who own it. Get the mercenary boats expansion. Is that what you said it was?
Yeah. That's actually pretty neat. You don't see a whole lot of them around. You have to go online and buy them. But you can put 3 troops on them. They can fly. They can do all sorts of stuff.
All right. Well, the shop opens at 12, right? The shop opens at 12 Saturday.
Armada Games, yeah.
Armada Games. Right. That's our game day.
Yep.
You're hosting Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. So once we fill up enough seats, because you and I will be there at 12 setting up the table, we'll get it going.
Right.
I'm excited to play, brother.
Oh, so I'm hoping to have at least 6 players.
I think I demoed this for you in 2019, September 2019, at Huracan.
Earlier than that.
It may have been 2018.
I thought it was like 18.
Yeah, I demoed it to Zeno, and now he gets to return the favor and introduce me to all the expansions that I've never played.
There you go. Yeah, fair trade.
Yeah, well, it's fun. You guys think they're like, wow, okay, they really put that much into it. Yeah.
Well, Zeno, thanks for the call, man. We will see you Saturday. Yep. I appreciate you teaching us. And for you folks at home, we still have seats available. If you're coming to game day, let us know if you want to have a seat in the Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This Saturday, Zeno's teaching.
Armada Games in Tampa.
All right, guys.
Take care, Zeno.
Thanks, Zeno.
All right. Night.
Heroes of Air, Land, and Sea is a game I really liked. We played a lot of it.
Land, Air, and Sea, but yeah.
Oh,
Well, we got the card game is what? Air, Land, and Sea?
Right, the little.
I think it's Land, Air.
It's not Heroes, but yeah, it's a different order. So I know we always got those confused because you own both of them. But
I think they do like from the ground up. So it's Land, Air, and Land, Sea. Well, whatever the hell it is. Now I'm
Will's confused himself now. But I was looking to see it on the shelf. It's probably over here on the card.
It's in the corner somewhere for the Air, Land, and Sea.
Air, Land, and Sea. I think it is. I can look on BGG, but
no, it's right there.
Is it Air, Land, and Sea? Okay.
Air, Land, and Sea is a different card game, not to be confused with Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
Yep.
Is what Robert's trying to make sure I delineate here.
Don't confuse.
Phone lines open, 813-618-7099. Give us a ring. Tell us what you're doing, what you're playing, what you've been up to.
Yeah.
Shout out here on the chat. We've got Board Game Gumbo and Mitchell talking about Mitchell's most recent video on board game battles, which I found it to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
His two kids did a board game battle on kids game, family games, between Santorini and Reef.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Funny stuff.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
That's something y'all should definitely catch if you haven't seen it on Board Game Battles, singular. Board game
battle. Is it battles or battle?
I think battles is plural.
Board game battles. Okay. And I watched the video. I haven't voted again. I got to get over this, but I've played one of the games. I haven't played the other. I've never played Reef, so it's hard for me to try to jump in and vote one way or the other.
I have Reef. I'll bring it over if you want.
Okay, yeah,
But watch the video and vote. Which would you rather play, Santorini or Reef?
Reef.
Yeah.
Well, go vote.
Yeah.
Is it
Mitchell's son, I think, is doing Reef, and his daughter is pushing Santorini.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my niece loved Reef, and then my nephew
Like Santorini?
like Santorini.
Yeah.
I borrowed Santorini from somebody, and I brought both of them over, and he's like, he said, nah,
Yeah.
nah.
Not
I'm not
into
playing
it.
it. That looks like two colorful pieces of Legos. I'm not playing that.
Board Game Gumbo says Reef is the best abstract game since Beyond the Sun.
Of course, Beyond the Sun.
Beyond
There
the
we go.
I've been
Abstract, yeah.
Okay, I'm doing everything I can to not buy that game at inflated prices.
Back in print. It's back in print. Yeah, they just announced the other day that it's back in
thank
print now,
God.
so you can start getting it
I
more
can
widely
wait.
now. Yeah.
Why would you want to buy anything at inflated prices when it's
Because
out
I
of stock?
really, really want to.
Are you feel like you're missing out? When
I
you got
am.
How much stuff you have in shrink right still over here?
I want to play Beyond the Sun again. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, but I keep hearing so much good press about it. I want to try it again.
Ant Games did a playthrough of it.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and
I liked it.
It really got me.
Is it climbing up the charts, or is it still stagnant? Last I saw that it was
No,
not.
BGG King, get in there. Tell us where it's
I
at.
can tell you. Let's take a look here.
And also, Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast did a review of it, and I listened to it, and they loved it. So it's all those itches are itching.
So I when I went to buy my games, I bought a whole bunch of games this past weekend, like 8 games. I went back in my BBG and I re-rated a lot of games, and I made some lots of changes.
Oh,
I gave some games some big negative reviews. Like, would I ever play this game? No. Would I play this game? Would I even look at this game? Hell no.
I don't update mine too often. Every now and then I'll run across one and I'll be like, I probably need to update that.
I think it's because when I had that, because the first time I updated most of those games is when I was a fresh gamer. I was like, oh, this is awesome gameplay. This is awesome gameplay. Awesome gameplay. And now you go back like, nope. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to update that and make changes to it.
Yeah, Beyond the Sun's got an 8.0 rating. It's overall 291 right now, so I'm not sure where that's going up or down. I know the 8.0 is about where it's been for a while, so yeah.
I'm thinking maybe enough people are not voting on it.
Probably, yeah. Weight is a 3.11, which is a little on the heavy side, but I didn't find it particularly heavy, but there are several things going on. There's different things you have to keep an eye on as you play. 2 to 4 players, 60 to 120 minutes, and Rio Grande Games, designer Dennis K. Chan. So, but yeah, it was a fun game. Like I said, I want to try it again. The first time I was trying to figure it out, I was playing with 3 people who had played it a couple times. I think at least a couple times, and one of the guys had played it a bunch, and so I was a little on guard. I actually ended up winning the game on my first play, so maybe I should quit there.
Did you play the victim role? Like,
don't hurt the new guy. Don't hurt the new guy.
And then you end up coming back from behind and winning.
I don't think you can attack anybody or do anything bad to him.
There's a
You can
sideboard
take-
you can.
There's
Yeah.
a area control sideboard.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games. If it's the first time you play, just like maybe we had that discussion before. Just play
Just
it.
try something.
You know, don't focus on one thing and I'm gonna do this, do that. Like, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
I think BGG should make you. And Ant Games was talking about this. They're working on a beta project to create a website
Called the
Nexus.
The Nexus.
The board game
I was gonna
Nexus.
say Expanse, but the Nexus. Yep.
Where they're talking about a place to put your collections in, right?
Right.
To manage your collection and the inventory and ratings of your games. And they're talking about requiring regular updates to your ratings Yeah. Board Game Gumzo says, I wish BGG had a better way to sort. So do we.
Oh yeah. It's archaic, and I guess from people who use it all the time, they've said that the tools are in there, but pretty much everybody says they're just difficult to get to. It's to find the right tool to get what you want, but people who use it a lot, supposedly there are ways to do it, and I know Tom again on Dice Tower says that once you learn it, you can get in there and sort things all different kinds of ways, but I haven't found it yet. I've gone in and tried to sort things, and just to sort the top 50 family games, I find, is 15 clicks for me to try to get to that.
Oh no,
so,
I can do that pretty quickly.
Can
now.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I played with those and it was that whole when I was looking to purchase games.
Yeah,
I was like, let me go check it out. I was like, oh, okay, it's right here. It's this and that. Okay, because it has like a rating for overall, has a rating for theme. If it's a thematic game,
right, the different genres or categories it fits in.
So I said, you know what? I want to look at the top 50 family games, and I bought, I think 2 of them on that list. It was on sale. I was like, okay, I'll try these out for when I visit family this holiday break. Okay, and then I bought. I wanted to play like a drafting or tile game, so I bought a couple games that are on that list, not the top 100, but I bought something that was along that genre.
Yeah,
something that I know that you would definitely like, and maybe you, but I know definitely he would like one of them for sure.
Yeah,
because it's a strategy game with no dice.
No dice.
Oh, there you go.
They're cubes, lots of cubes.
No cubes. It's just laying tiles.
Thought you had me.
It's laying tiles, and based on what the next player does, could score you.
What's the name of the game?
I can't even pronounce a Japanese name.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So I would definitely bring that in.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, but I use that. I didn't use it to generate what my overall rating was. I did it to get a description of the game.
Cool.
So, but then you see that you want to see the rating, you want to see the reviews, and I don't really listen.
I like dipping into the reviews. For me, I don't go off of just the.
I usually listen to the top 5 negative views and the top 5 positive views.
Right,
and that's what I do.
I like looking at the real bottom reviews because you get some weird information there. Then I like looking at the middle and then at the top to kind of get a spread of what people are saying about it.
Yeah,
I just don't. I can't go by the rating. The 8.0 for like Beyond the Sun. All the games that are being played with just the rating systems. It says, Board Game Gum says, if you don't rate games, try to quickly find just the games you've played from 2015. You have to scroll through hundreds of pages.
Oh, yeah. That's been my thing about it again. Is supposedly the tools are there, and I've heard again people, if you take the time to learn it, if you take the time to spend some hours in BGG, supposedly there's some really nice tools to be able to get to things. I just, like I say, I haven't discovered them. I've been pretty passively using it just to look things up here and there. But
one of the ways to do that, folks, is using the BG Stats app. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. On Android, it's called BG Stats.
Okay.
I believe it's also on Apple. But it's where I go and plug in my played games. So I tell it what games I played with who, and it's synced to my BGG. So it updates my games played. But what's nice about it is each game that you're in, right, when you're looking at that game as you play it, you can just click on the game itself, and you can go right to the BGG itself, right? So not only do you record the play, but it gives you the link right to the BGG, and quick, do a quick update on your rating ratings for it while you're at it. And I think I'm going to commit to, because I go in there and I update the games that I've played, but I've never gone back and like refresh them.
I did.
I think I'm going to do that as I play games again.
Yeah,
I'm going to go in and see what did I rate it before and has it changed.
You log your new plays. Sure. Yeah, that's cool.
I'll start doing that. Phone number is 813-618-7099. Give us a call. Talk to us. Let us know what you've been up to gaming wise. Chat board is blowing up. But looking for phone calls if anybody wants to tell me what they got going on, what they've been playing.
Yeah, say
I know BJ from Board Game Gumbo got to play Ankh. I watched his Twitch stream of it, so that was cool to see. He's got I think it's Tuesday Twitch, or Wednesday. I'm trying to remember the time, but I did get to see him do his playthrough of Ankh.
I don't know how Mitch did it, but I'm with maybe because we both work for different school systems, but I haven't had time to play.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was getting ready to say. With the school getting back, I think things are in flux for a lot of people right now. So
I mean, it's just. Yeah. I'd never seen anything like this before in the 6 years.
But that's what the second Saturday game day is for.
Right.
Yeah, second Saturday game day is like that dedicated one time a month.
I'm checking out.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
If I get one text on my phone saying, "Oh, the network is this," and I'm like, sorry, I ain't looking at. Looking at
Saturday, and we're playing games.
Yeah.
Yep. Saturday's game day.
It feels like they're like mini conventions. So we do.
I look forward to that
every second Saturday.
Speaking of which, hopefully we can still go.
Yeah, Escape WinterCon is coming up in what, a month?
I thought they canceled that one.
About a
No,
month.
it's still going.
Yeah.
Still going? Okay.
It's the weekend of September 15th or 16th. I'm trying to look at.
I could look it up if you need, but yeah, there's. I posted on our group.
Yeah,
chat.
it starts off Thursday, September 16th.
BJ said that wasn't Ankh, that was Kemet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was. I'm getting them all confused in my head.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Egyptian games. Yeah.
Go to bed. Been up too much with the baby.
Yeah, lack of sleep this last month. She just turned a month today. I can't. The time's slow.
Well,
I look forward
But
to
it was Kemet. It was the new Kemet, the one that just delivered as well.
Shifting Sands or something.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
2.0, whatever you want to call it. It looks very pretty. It looks gorgeous. Like the game looks well made.
Blood and Sand is what it is. Came up
Blood and Sand.
Yep.
BJ says the only thing that he's scared about is the mail merge function
Yeah, for Ankh.
with Ankh.
Yeah.
It never works right for me.
What I was going to mention though.
That's a joke. That's like a merging, a mail merge.
Mail merging. Oh, okay.
Wow.
I was going to mention though something I found really interesting when I watched the Four Corners review on Dice Tower. So that's where they have 4 different reviewers play the game, sometimes together, sometimes separately, and then they come together and do their 4 different opinions on it. All 4 of them did not like the merge mechanic, but they mentioned that they found it to be a very strong 2-player game. And when they rated it purely as a 2-player game, they gave it all 8s and 9s. So they really liked the game at a 2-player, which I never. I mean, it's a 4-player game. It's an Eric Lane game. I don't
Is
know
it though?
Yeah. See, I don't know that I ever played Blood Rage that way. I don't know that I ever
Oh,
played.
dude,
Rising
we
Sun
played
that
Blood
way.
Rage that way.
2-player, we
the
did,
first time
yeah.
we bought it.
Right.
We sat here.
We played like 6 games in a row.
We even moved like a folding table into the living room,
Yeah.
and we played. It was more than 6 because the wives were out of
7 or
town.
8 or, yeah.
The wives were out of town.
Yeah.
Rob came over with the kids, so we
started-
kind of like fed the kids ramen noodles all
Started
day.
keeping tallies. We're like, it's 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me.
We did a whole day of just back-to-back
Yeah.
Blood Rage.
Yeah, that was good. Although, again, I don't prefer it at 2 players, but at 2 players, it was quick. It was fun. We went through a bunch of them, but I would still always love that game at 4 or 5 with the expansions, more players. But yeah, and again, Rising Sun, I don't think I'd ever play that at
I'm
2
sorry.
players.
I'm not giving
I'm
it
sorry.
another chance.
Champions
Yeah.
Midgard.
Champions of Midgard.
2-player?
2-player? Is that what you're saying?
No, just overall.
Best Viking game.
Yeah, we're going back to Viking games. So, gotcha. I wasn't sure where that was going, but no. But again, with Ankh at 2 players, again, I never would have thought that hey, this Eric Lang game in that series, this would be a 2-player game, and they liked the fact that it took out the merge, and they said it just plays quickly back and forth at 2 players, and
Do you ever get the feeling that Eric Lang doesn't want to play with dice anymore because when he created Dice Masters, he's got done with them?
No, that was it. That was him.
That wasn't. He's
yeah?
got like I don't know how many. He's got the Dice Master D&D, Marvel, X-Men, Spider-Man.
See, but Dice
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Masters it wasn't a dice game in that sense.
It was a dice pool game.
It was a dice pool
Yeah,
game,
but
but
you
you're
did-
using them more as like
no, you had to roll them.
yeah, you do. I'm not disagreeing. They're
Yeah.
dice, and you roll them,
right.
but they become like characters
Right.
that you use. Right?
Yeah.
They're like powers that you're using, like a resource. What's the word I'm looking for here, Robert?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, they're characters.
Yes.
Characters. I don't know.
I agree.
yeah.
They're not like I'm not chucking them to resolve anything. It wasn't like today's
Right.
game of Betrayal, where I rolled 8 damage on Robert, but he happened to roll 8 to defend.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not bitter.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm not bitter.
You thought you had it in the bag there when you rolled that one.
But
yeah.
then what we found out that Rob rolls bad all the time, 1s and 2s.
The reason Rob
Yeah,
rolls
1s and 2s.
well
Yeah, 1s and 2s.
in Betrayal
On those
is the
is 'cause
dice
they're-
never go higher than 2.
2, yeah, and I like rolling 1s and 2s. Usually on a 20-sided dice, I'm rolling 1s and 2s, but when it's a 6-sided die and there's only 1s and 2s and blanks, I can
You-
roll 1s
you
and
win.
2s. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Robert did win today's game of Betrayal
Finally,
Legacy.
0-3 before that, but yeah, I felt it was.
You still died.
It was time for me to. Yeah, I died.
Yes, I
Yeah.
still killed you, which is
Although my monster survived and lived on and won. So
I've
that
only
was good.
died. I've only died once in that game so far.
Yeah, I've died every time.
Oh, wow. So Mitchell's asking about 878 Vikings. Where does it land on the spectrum? Because Board Game Gumbo agrees that Champions greater than Blood Rage. Wayne, as always, going rando with Wayne. Raiders of the North Sea, which I don't know if I can agree with that one.
It was okay.
I have not played that one, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was all right. I didn't completely love it. It wasn't bad though. It was good.
It burned my brain.
Yeah,
It burned my brain.
there's a lot going on. Yeah.
But 878 Vikings is the best team game.
I think it's more tactical for sure.
Two
It's
on
the best
two?
tactical game.
it's
in
more
that-
of
in
a
that-
dudes
in
on a
that-
map war game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we're just going straight Viking, where would it land?
Historically, I would say
I just have more fun with champions.
I would have more fun. Yeah, if you want a good, it depends on the mood, but yeah, Blood Rage is definitely 3.
Wow, 3rd on the list for you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Blood Rage would be up there near the top for me.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything above Blood Rage.
No,
That's
for me, it's a play. I'm played out of that. Just
You got drafting in that one that I love. You got area control. You got battles. Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything. Yeah.
8-7 Vikings has dice.
Yeah.
Like actual dice, like chucking of dice.
No, that's
Big handfuls of dice.
That's not so much for me.
no, you don't. It's only you either get 3.
I
or
have
2
small
dice.
hands. I have small hands.
The most you can get is 3 dice.
All right, folks, your last chance to call in. We're creeping up on that 10 o'clock hour. So if you got anything you want to get in, we'd love to hear from you. One more call tonight.
Yeah, Wayne was talking about how he's got kids heading back to school, heading back to college, starting next week. So it was all light games for him. And I think that's the kind of the feeling. Like,
Yeah.
I posted it up last week. It was like summertime. It felt slow. I didn't expect it to pick up yet this week because we're all getting into the new routine.
Yeah.
I think a third of America is going through back to school stuff. So it'll probably be another couple weeks before we get into a routine where people are gaming again and their groups are back together. And then maybe we'll drive up more, contribution from the phone calls.
Yeah, a little more conversation. Yeah. Anyway.
But definitely the chat.
The chat's good.
People
I'm enjoying the chat.
Yeah, just reading the chat. Yeah.
But you know me, I like to talk to people and hear hear what they got going on. But that's okay. We can do that one next week.
It's the Spanish in you.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
We talk a lot. Don't know what we're saying, but we talk a lot.
Chocolate.
Don't forget the podcast Sundays. I posted up on Sundays. Last week we had a guest host.
Yeah, Mitchell was on.
Mitchell joined us.
And I try to make it, but man, I'll try to make one
It's late.
tonight.
Yeah. It runs late.
It runs
I'm
late.
doing my best to try to
Pare it down a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pare it down. This week's guest is from Indiana. It's Daniel Cervantes of the Christian Adventure Gamers. So he's got a channel. He just unboxed Descent, the new Legends of the Dark.
I didn't watch the whole video. Did he had a feeling about it?
Oh, got a caller.
Last one tonight.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Aaron calling from Columbus. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for saving us.
We were talking about
Yeah,
nothing.
I thought I'd call. I actually caught it real late and saw you guys were kind of asking for a final call, so figured why not.
Sweet.
But yeah, I didn't make it to game night tonight, and actually, I think we had to cancel. I don't think I was the only one who couldn't make it. So no new games played since last week, but I've been on a little bit of a Kickstarter tear with some games coming in potentially and backing a few recently. So I'm just wondering, your guys' group, do you guys do much Kickstarter? Or?
What? I'm interested in what you backed. What'd you back?
Yeah, so I backed Earthborn Rangers, which is kind of the LCG sort of card game from Andrew Navarro. I'm not super familiar, but follow the Team Covenant guys have been playing it the last couple of weeks and showing it off a little bit. And yeah, she's really interested. Kind of the same vibe as like the Arkham Horror or Lord of the Rings card game, kind of those old Fantasy Flight LCG vibes.
Sure.
Okay.
But he's starting his own company, and he's trying to use this first game as kind of a foundation to bring that company to life. And the company's kind of main goal and mission is to try and make board games a little bit more environmentally sustainable. So it's a cool project I'm excited for. And I got rid of Arkham a long time ago. So I'm excited to kind of get this back in more of an open world narrative card game. You can solo it. So I think that'll be really good for me. What else is back? Divinus.
Okay, yeah.
I heard about
Duck.
a lot of people backing that too.
Yeah. So back to that, and then what else did I back? Hildegard. It's a solo kind of story, just a deck with some dice. It's really interesting. It was a pretty low entry price point, so I figured I would pull the trigger on that too. I actually want to explore that a little bit more. So those are the ones I backed. I've got, I think, Unsettled should be coming really any minute now. I think if they get it off the ships, there's a lot of issues with that getting to America. And then Redlands from Roxley Games.
Yeah, that one looks fun.
Is that RPG?
No, it's like a card game, but it's got like that 80s neon look to it.
Oh, okay.
Like a Road Warrior post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, meeting like neon lights and stuff. I heard it was like real colorful.
Is it coming in?
Well, we just got if anyone back there, we just got an update, I don't know, about an hour ago, with them talking about things are ready, but of course, between the pandemic and it sounds like China and Asia in general has been hit with some pretty bad weather too. So they're kind of predicting there might be a slight delay. So I don't think we'll get that till
there's always
October,
a delay.
November. But yeah, it's pretty rough right now. Pretty rough out there right now. And I get it. I understand. Bigger things going on. Those games will come when they come. So
get back to your question real quick. You'd asked about people in our group. I'm sorry, about people in our group. We do have a few. There are a few that kind of support the rest of us to some extent. I know Nick Oben in our group. We were just talking to him the other day, and he was saying that he has decided that he's cutting back. He's trying to control his addiction, but he mentioned he just got an Ankh and I think one other game delivered. I don't remember what the other one was, but I think he said he still had 40-something games that he's back that he's waiting for over the next couple of years. So yeah, he's been supporting us with a lot of the new stuff. I know Michael Lorenzo in our group is pretty big. He's a little more selective, it seems like, on what he goes in on. He's got a different style of things that he's looking for, but he's been doing it for years.
Yeah, I think he's definitely more educated on like which company makes the best promises, which one is who do you trust, who do you not trust, who's going to deliver on time. He knows all that stuff.
He does a lot of research. I know Muhammad does a little bit on the Kickstarter, although he's cut back recently. And then we've got Dan, who owns Your Turn Board Game Cafe here locally, and he's pretty big on it, but he's got a reason. He does a lot of stuff for the cafe, but he's actually started with the cafe where he's posting up or he's asking people for recommendations on Kickstarters that are coming up, and then he's running pledge levels.
Retail level pledges.
I think I got like 3 with him right now.
Yeah, and then ordering games in bulk, and that saves on shipping and stuff when they come in. So he'll get a group of people to go in. So, but I know Carlos is still fairly anti-Kickstarter.
I pulled up my Kickstarter website so I can answer Aaron's question. No. Honestly, I have had, it looks as though I've had 3 backed projects.
Ever.
Yeah. Tacticum, which is a small pocket.
I missed that one. Is that still going?
No, there's an upgraded version that ended recently. I didn't do it, the upgraded, but I did the original one.
I'm hoping there's
kind of like what you talked about, Wayne. Small, inexpensive games, right? I kind of like that idea on Kickstarter. There's not a lot of risk, right? You maybe out $20 or something, whatever, right? But then Cards Christians Like, it's a Christian version of Cards Against Humanity. Kind of poke fun at like Chick-fil-A and Sunday school stuff. So it's kind of like that. And then the Mayday Crokinole board, right? To me, I always wanted those Mayday Crokinole boards. I got 2 of them on the wall here that I did through the Kickstarter. That's it. Now I did do a Pulse.
I heard.
I missed that.
I heard those Crokinole boards took a while.
Yeah,
to get the backers.
Mine came in on time. Because I was like in the second wave. There are some issues with some of the chipping and stuff, but I'm not a very picky person. I mean, my last Crokinole board ended up being effectively a
coaster,
a $200 coaster with rings, like mug rings on it.
Somebody literally put a drink on it and left it there for a while. So yeah, that one went bad. Yeah.
So, but a chip here or there doesn't bother me. But I felt happy with the product for the Mayday. I did do Hasbro Pulse. So I guess that makes it 4.
I was so mad at myself for that one.
The Hasbro Pulse for the what's the
Hero
word?
Quest.
Hero Quest.
Oh yeah, Hero Quest.
Which I'll tell you what, man. My Kickstarter, just the 3 that I did, you got nice updates. You got like, hello, here's where we're at. Here how things are going. Hasbro, like last year, thanks for your money.
Nope. Yep.
That was it.
Well, what's funny,
I haven't heard anything since.
I think someone leaked out like a lot of the stuff.
Oh yeah,
and then they got taken down real fast. Like
somebody leaked pictures of the
they
product.
must have got like a cease and desist order because they were gone.
Well, it's Hasbro, so yeah.
So I think someone captured a few of those things, and if you go Tabletop Simulator, I think someone
started creating
a little bit.
But they just announced that they're creating an app, so now you can play it without having to have a player play the board. The board plays itself.
Cool.
So I mean, it's anyway. That's my answer to you, Aaron. I think officially I've done 4 board game Kickstarters.
So my question
is,
Carlos, how many P500 games you got going on right now?
Oh, Not many.
I have 5.
I haven't P500
I have
much.
5 P500 games.
I think
I got about 6.
I'm waiting for like some Thunder Alley stuff to kick in. We need to do a P500 so we can introduce people to P500, and maybe we can get that 500 mark and they start printing our games.
Yeah, there you go. Get them in.
Aaron, have you done P500?
I've not done P500. I've heard. I'm not like, my understanding is that's mostly war games that they're making through that P500 system.
No, Dominant Species and
really?
Thunder Alley.
GMT. There's some non-war, but yeah, it's definitely a very strategic type game. Yeah, it's a very distinct style of games. Yeah,
I will say for I guess you sound like you're very conscious about the planet, but their stuff is like, as minimal as they can make it as possible. I don't see when they make.
And I think that's. I was just gonna say, I think that's kind of more of where my understanding is. Since I'm doing these games, a lot of it, I'd look at some of them, but I've been more intrigued by their kind of pre-order and limited quantity sort of model. So I'm fascinated by that. I think that's great.
They make enough to fulfill wherever the order count is, and then a few for retails, and that's about it. They don't really print a lot, because you'll see a lot of their games are like 6th edition print or 7th edition print.
Yeah, small batches as needed.
Yeah.
GMT. Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned that GMT.
Oh, yeah, GMT games.
P500. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Aaron, what's your count on Kickstarters?
Mitchell's gonna say something now.
I think this last one just put me up over 30. Plus, there's a few on GameFound I've done. Now that's a thing.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm not waiting on 40 or anything, but I've got a few more than 3. So somewhere in the middle there. I'd say at any given time, I probably have 4 or 5 that are kind of waiting to deliver. But there's always stuff coming. I think of somewhere in between of trying to find the smaller publisher that's got a good deal, or a smaller game that's trying to get this indie publisher.
What's your recency with doing it though? Like, because Tacticum was one I did, and they just did a new edition of it, which is like a spruced up, beautiful edition. But I'm so nervous about the situation shipping wise internationally that I'm just not willing to put in even $20 into a Kickstarter. How are you feeling about that with the recent Kickstarters?
Yeah, I think certainly in the last year or more, my choices have definitely been much more safe bets. Yeah, it might get delayed. Yeah, it might not get here in time. But these are companies that I know they're going to do a good job, and it's going to get here when it gets here. So I'm not worried about, you hear horror stories. I've done my research on some companies, I won't name names, but just horror stories of basically scamming people out of money. So I feel like I've done a pretty good job in the last year or two, knowing, Roxley, Orange Nebula, Lucky Duck, those are some,
yeah.
Back, the Dice Tower, or versus, some just
services
supporting the hobby, too. So, it's, I look at it as just an investment to help a game come to life. And yeah, sometimes it can be disappointing when a game takes longer to get there, but I don't get too worked up about it. I know a lot of these companies are going to put a lot of effort into it. It's going to be a great game when it does get here. And so I just think it's cool that I got to be part of that.
I think I'm more fearful. I mean, when you see things like Tasty Minstrel Games and their situation, when you think of a company like Tasty Minstrel going dang near bankrupt right now, firing everybody, like if it could happen to them, it could happen to anybody.
Well, yeah, and they here too. Like they're done, and someone else has got to come in and fulfill their last couple Kickstarters too. That they decided that they're going to just buy out the right to fulfill those games and print them in the future, and they're going to also take on the rest of the fulfillment of the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, some companies it can get ugly quick. I mean, I'll be on Fantasy Flight Games. I know they're controlled by Asmodee, but they look like they're a shell of their old self.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Yeah, they seem to be on a downward slide, but
Fantasy Flight is not what it used to be.
Right?
No,
for sure.
I haven't bought any Fantasy Flight products in a while.
Yeah,
I just don't know. I don't know if they got the same spark that they used to.
Well, we'll see how this Descent hits. I'm curious. When we do this podcast here, we're going to have Daniel Cervantes of Christian Adventure Gamer on. He's got a copy at home. He's a big dungeon crawl fan, so I want to hear from him. So check out the podcast on Sunday. We'll talk more about the Descent game and his thoughts on it. And this guy's played probably more dungeon crawls than I've known of any other person.
Yeah.
So he's like the expert on dungeon crawl games. I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts on it to see if this is going to be like the death nail into FFG. Like, oh, they're dead. This is it. Or if this will rejuvenate our love for FFG. So thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you
Looking forward to it.
Hearing our concern of, oh, wow, we didn't get a lot of calls today, and stepping up to help us with it.
Yeah, appreciate you calling in, as always.
Yeah, love calling in. Love what you're doing, guys.
Take care.
Talk to you later.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
See you next week. Bye. All right, that is going to do it for our call-in show today.
Yeah.
Lots of good conversations sparked up through that, so I appreciate those folks that called in. I know that it's been busy with summer ending and school starting. Hopefully we can all get into a rhythm, but we will have a lot more content for you next week as well, because we're doing our second Saturday game day this Saturday. We've got lots of games lined up. We're going to talk to you about the games that we played, and you can call in and tell us why we're wrong, right? Like Mitchell will do. He'll call in and tell us why drafting in Terraforming in Mars is bad, which we will disagree.
By the way, he laughed at you.
Hey, I'm sure he does.
In the chat.
All the
That's
time.
what he does.
It was funny.
That's what we do.
We are the Beans and Dice podcast. We're a podcast about how we game, right? That's how we do. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I'm William.
And we want to thank you for watching. Check out our podcast Sundays. We'll see you next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Call in. Tell us what you're gaming.
Leave us some feedback. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.